up guys, welcome to another video. Today we are changing the upper control arms on the truck. We're upgrading these to these Flashark upper control arms. That's gonna open these up and see what they're like inside. Backwards. Nice and beefy. As you can see, these are Flashark. The packaging is great. Nice, very well protected, solid. I mean, God, I wish you could feel it. This thing's sturdy, strong. Okay, so these specifically says right and left on these, right? So we know which is which. But these do seem sturdy, you know, seem pretty good quality, nice thick, good welds all the way around it. All the way around, looks pretty good. We'll see how they compare. Now the truck has 144,000 miles on it, so it is about time these bushings do wear out. And these look pretty solid. We're gonna see how they compare to the old ones. All right guys, so let me tell you what happened. I took my truck in for an alignment. They really struggled getting it dialed in. Every time I left the facility, I felt like something wasn't straight, it would move. So then I took it back and I'm like, man, something's not right with this, something's off. So then they checked it out and checked this out. All right, so check it out. See that play right there? The movement back and forth? That's what's messing it up. And it's on both sides. Passenger side also. This one seems like it has more play. You can see that bright mark right there where my shadow is. That means this thing is moving back and forth a little bit, which makes the alignment not connect. It keeps moving. All right, we're gonna start by jacking the truck up first. Okay, I'm trying to put these as high as possible, and this is actually a better angle here, because it's sideways instead of this. But actually it's not a bad idea to have one way, one the other, as long as it's not in the way of the lower control arm, because this might have to drop a little bit. We'll see. So jack stands are up. Truck is secure. Now it's time to start breaking this apart. So what we're gonna do is remove these screws here to get this caliper completely out of the way, and then we'll start taking apart some of the tie rods and the steering and all the other stuff. Okay. Okay, so just remove 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter, and 21 millimeter. One in the back. These right here. It's these larger ones that are in the back. There's one on the bottom and one here on top. Where is it? Okay, man, no, it's still tight. Okay, so I just hung this out the way, put a little hook on here, hang it there. I had a stool here and I had it on the stool, but I found that, and that's much easier. Keeps it out of the way. I loosened this up also so it's not stretching so much. This is the speed sensor. This here has a little cap. I just use these little pliers and just use these little pliers and pop the cap off. It was actually really easy, came out really fast. I do have a wheel spacer, so this looks different than normal. Here I'm just using a little leverage to unbolt the wheel spacer, and the disc comes right off. Okay, so I did have to remove the spacer, the wheel spacer, and actually, quick thing on this spacers, these are ECCP spacers. They've done really well, man. I've had them for about 4 years at least, and towed, off-road, high speeds. I mean, they've been solid. No issues with them, no cracks. No issue, like no messing up anything else. Been pretty good, man. And I thought I was gonna have a hard time taking them out, but no, once I loosened it up, it came right out. So I took the disc brake off. So now we can start messing with this, see if I can get this to come out. I loosened this already also. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off also, just so I don't mess it up. The disc brake cover. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the speed sensor. This is a speed sensor, ABS sensor, and kind of detects the speed of the hub turning. And this is, I've seen these are different on different vehicles, but this 2015 F150 has an Allen wrench, which is a 5mm. Wait, is it 5? I thought I just tried it and it worked. Okay. Yeah, I think it is 5. But damn, she's hot. There it is. Wow. Here's a tip. Look at that. Just like that, loosened it up. Come on. And if you notice, I like to put all the screws back where they were. Every screw goes back in. So this one also comes out. This pops out. That's the sensor. Move it out of the way, and let's put the screw back in here. Okay, so this is off. Now let me show you how you know you have a bad upper control arm. Look how much play that has, man. That's horrible. Okay, so everything down here is pretty much loose except for the hub, the back. Sorry, except for that hub back there. I'm trying to see if I don't have to disconnect it, because the last time I did this, when I put the spacers on top, I ended up damaging that hub. So I know there's a way you can do a vacuum on it to disconnect it and then remove it. That supposedly works a lot better. I mean, makes sense. But I'm gonna try to remove it without it. So this has 3, I think they're 15mm bolts. I'm gonna remove them from the top. I ended up removing the hub, the whole thing. I was trying not to, but it came out. All because I forgot to remove this fucker right here. So I'm removing it now, but every time I turn it, when I turn it with the impact drill, it turns the whole thing. So then you have to put, see here, there's a space here where you can actually size in exactly an 8mm, and then you can put something else to turn it, and it'll loosen it up while holding the actual bolt down. So I'm hoping once this gets removed, this whole thing will go down further so I can actually take the coil off. We'll see. Okay, I was able to get the whole coil strut out, but I don't know if I'll be able to get it back in. I was trying not to remove these, but I'm gonna have to remove them. These are 27mm bolts, and I do have both sides, but it just makes the alignment so much easier when those aren't being moved. So now it's time to remove these. And you see how the only way to remove them is from the inside. This has to come out, so you have to remove. There is no other way around it. Okay, so this one, and again, these might be a little bit different on every truck, but mine is 18mm on the inside and about 21 on the outside. The 21 fits a little bit loose, so it might be more like a, I don't know, 1 1/16. Okay, so this one's already loose, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. All you do, really, is get your 18mm on the inside. This works so much nicer when you have ratchets. Backwards. Where you can just pick this up and then you attach. Wait, it's not this one. Actually, it might be this one. Oh, it's already on there. God damn, I already put it on there. And you start ratcheting this one up. Okay, it's too hard to do with one hand. Hold up. All right, that's out. Let's compare it now. Look at this. This is horrible, man. This is like completely worn out. This one is a little tighter, but still. One side being loose made everything. Look at the size of it. Now this is the right one, so we're gonna put this one over here. It is like 107 degrees out here right now. I got this fan right here going, kind of getting hot air out through the vent. See that? So it'll cool down a little bit. It feels more like 97 to 100 in here, but it's still hot. It's a hot day. I picked the wrong day to do this. All right, so make sure you have the left one. See, it has a little L right there. Left side, you'll see the ball joint is a little further back. So if you line this up, see how much better that is. I mean, that actually fits snug. And we're gonna just do the same exact thing but backwards. Put the bolts back in, and then the strut. Okay, so I put the strut back in there on the bottom first, and then pushed with my foot down here and slowly inching it in. It's almost there. I'm gonna do a little bit more. See if I can do it with one hand. Like that. And I just gotta line up the holes. And I didn't have to loosen that up at all. All right, so I did have to loosen this up because I had made it too tight, so then I had to loosen it up so I could drop it all the way down so that I could pick this thing up, put it in there. This was a challenge, man, trying to line this nut here and this down here. But after about 30 minutes, it finally all went in. The only thing that isn't tightened down is the sway bar, because I'm gonna have to remove it on the other side, so I'm just gonna leave it loose for now. Okay, we're ready to put the dust pan cover, the cap, disc, and caliper back on. Okay, so this is a trick that I use to not damage the bolts that are here. Soft piece of wood, pine wood, and then like this one here has not been tightened all the way, right? So then you can actually make a little more strength here to tighten it up. But use a little pry bar and get it nice and tight. That's a good, at least 120 pounds of tightness right there. Alright guys, so this side is pretty much put back together, like I said, except for the sway bar. It's still loose. I'm gonna have to loosen it up more just to get more space on the other side. I did switch out the brake disc. Somebody told me once that they were backwards. I don't know if they are. I don't think these are directional, but maybe they are. So I switched them around. Maybe it helps them wear out evenly. I don't know. But everything looks good over here. Now we're doing the same exact thing on this side. We've already taken most of it already out. There's the brake disc and the dust shield, and everything's out of the way. When removing this actuator, there is a vacuum hose, which is actually this one right here. This is the vacuum hose. See? The vacuum hose connects to the back of here, and it helps this get sucked out to disactivate four-wheel drive. But the vacuum kit that I have, the hose are too small. They're all the same size and they just don't fit on there. And I try to pinch it, see if it would work, but these hoses are too small. Sounds like a rap song. These hoses are too small, so I can't fit them in my truck. These hoses are too small.
Stop it. Get some help.
Alright guys, this is the passenger side. It's pretty worn out. Also, actually, the piece of bushing on this side fell out whenever I removed it. So it had definitely been Time to change. Let me see if you can compare these here. Let me turn them around. The way that the angle is looks pretty much the same, but this one kind of seems like it comes out straighter. It has been a long day, but finished both sides. This side was done first. This side took me the longest. Probably took me like 3 hours to do this. And then this side, the passenger side, probably took me like an hour and a half. And honestly, the strut was a lot easier to put back in on this side. I don't know why. This lower control arm was just a little more easy to flex up and down. Maybe it's not as tight. Could be part of the alignment. I don't know. But it's done. Both sides done. Everything. I just went back and tightened everything. I did, like I said, rotate the disc brakes, the discs themselves. Everything else fit perfectly. Now it's time to put the tires back on and take it for a ride. All right, all done. And all we had is just 2 bolts left over. That's not bad. Nah, I'm just kidding. These 2 bolts go to here. These are from the old control arms. This is the piece of the bushing that had fallen off. You can see it's on the inside of these. Well, I went around the block and they feel really good. Like no more clinking and clanking when I go over a speed bump. And when I turn sharp, like all the way to the ends, like dead end, there's no click where it moves back and forth. Click. That's one of the telltales that you have bad control arms. All right, guys, I've been driving the truck around for about a week and it handles great. I think the upper control arm is a great add to any level kit that you might have because it kind of adjusts the angle of the upper ball joint. So yeah, definitely worth it. And right now, if you order anything from Flashark.com, just put in my code here, RA15, you get a 15% off discount on anything. And they sell much more than just upper control arms. They have exhaust kits, intake kits, and a lot more. Check out the link in the description also, all right? Deuce.